The Deep Space Monitoring Station at Mount Wilson was quiet that night. Just like any other, Tom Parker sat at his desk, sipping his third cup of coffee while watching the usual stream of data from the long-range sensors. 20 years of watching empty space had taught him patience, but nothing could have prepared him for what happened next. The first alarm came at 2:47 a.m. At first, he thought it was a system error. The sensors were showing multiple massive objects moving at incredible speeds toward the solar system. He ran the standard diagnostics, checked and double-checked the readings, but everything showed the same result. Something big was coming. Within minutes, similar reports flooded in from other stations around the world. The objects were real, and they were slowing down as they approached the outer edges of the solar system. Tom's hands shook as he sent the emergency alert to Global Defense Command. Commander James Reed was awakened by the harsh buzzing of his secure phone. He had been in charge of the Global Defense Initiative for 5 years, but this was the first time he'd received a Priority 1 alert. The message was brief but clear. Multiple unknown objects detected. Size: massive. Origin: outside solar system. Current position: beyond Neptune's orbit. Request immediate response. Reed didn't waste time. Within an hour, he was in the underground command center beneath Geneva, surrounded by screens showing data from every space monitoring station on Earth. The room was filled with military officers and scientists from different countries, all watching as the unknown objects continued their approach. "What are we looking at?" Reed asked Dr. Wilson, the head of astronomical analysis. The older scientist adjusted his glasses, pointing to the main screen. "Based on their size and movement patterns, these are ships, Commander. We're counting at least 30 of them, each one bigger than anything humanity has ever built. The smallest one is about the size of Manhattan." The room fell silent. Everyone knew this moment would come someday, but nobody expected it to be today. Humanity had always wondered if they were alone in the universe. Now they had their answer, and it was arriving in a fleet of massive ships. "Their current speed?" Reed asked, maintaining his composure. "They're still slowing down, but even at their reduced speed, they'll reach Mars orbit in about 6 hours. Reed nodded, then turned to his communications officer. "Alert all major governments. Implement Protocol First Contact, and get me the Security Council on the line." The next few hours were chaos, but organized chaos. Years of planning and drills for this exact scenario began to pay off. Military bases worldwide went on high alert. Space agencies redirected every available telescope and sensor toward the approaching fleet. Government leaders were moved to secure locations, and emergency broadcast systems were put on standby. The objects came to a stop just beyond Mars orbit, forming a perfect geometric pattern. Their massive hulls gleamed in the distant sunlight, displaying technology far beyond anything humans had achieved. The fear in the command center was palpable, but mixed with awe and curiosity. Then came the message. It arrived simultaneously at every major radio telescope and communications facility on Earth. The language was perfect English, transmitted on all frequencies. "Attention, inhabitants of Sol 3. This is High Commander Marcus of the Galactic Imperium. Your world has been identified as suitable for integration into our empire. Submit to imperial rule and accept your place as our subjects, or face the consequences of resistance. You have 48 Earth hours to respond." Commander Reed stood in the silent command center, looking at the massive ships displayed on the main screen. Humanity had just been given its first ultimatum from the stars, but as he watched the faces of those around him, scientists, soldiers, and leaders from nations that were enemies just hours ago, he saw not fear, but determination. "Well," he said, his voice carrying across the quiet room, "I guess we should prepare our response." He turned to his staff. "Contact every major military and research facility. I want to know everything we have that could be used for planetary defense, and get me a secure line to the Advanced Weapons Research Division." The Galactic Imperium had just made their first move. They thought they were dealing with a primitive species that would quickly submit to their power. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. 3 sleek shuttles descended through Earth's atmosphere, their silver hulls reflecting the morning sun. They landed on the specially prepared area outside the United Nations headquarters in New York, surrounded by a mix of military forces from various nations. The world watched through countless cameras as humanity prepared to meet its first aliens face to face. Commander Reed stood at the front of the welcoming committee, flanked by military leaders and diplomats from major world powers. His face remained neutral, but his mind raced with possibilities. The Advanced Weapons Division had already briefed him on their capabilities, but he needed to keep that information hidden. For now. The shuttle's doors opened with a soft hiss. Out stepped the Imperial delegation, led by High Commander Marcus himself. They looked surprisingly human-like, though taller and with skin that had a slight bluish tint. They wore elaborate uniforms covered in symbols that probably showed their rank and achievements. "Welcome to Earth," Reed said, stepping forward. "I am Commander James Reed of the Global Defense Initiative." High Commander Marcus looked down at Reed, his expression a mixture of amusement and contempt. "Commander Reed, I trust you have considered our generous offer carefully." "We have many things to discuss," Reed replied carefully. "Please, follow me to the conference room." The meeting room had been specially prepared. One wall was covered in screens showing Earth's achievements, space missions, technological advances, and scientific breakthroughs. The Imperial delegation barely glanced at them. "Let us be direct," Marcus said, taking his seat. "We have studied your world for some time. You have achieved some basic space travel and have a primitive understanding of quantum mechanics. However, you haven't even managed to colonize your own moon. The Imperium can offer you advancement beyond your imagination." One of Marcus's advisors, a thin figure named Leto, pulled out a holographic projector. It displayed images of massive cities on different planets, ships traveling faster than light, and technology that seemed like magic. "All this could be yours," Marcus continued, "under Imperial guidance, of course. Your people would serve as productive members of the Imperium, after proper integration." Reed noticed how they said integration, the same way someone might talk about installing new software. "And if we decline?" Marcus smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Commander, you seem intelligent. Surely you understand your position. Our smallest ship could level your largest city in minutes. We have technology you can't even comprehend. Resistance would be unfortunate." "I see," Reed said quietly. "Would you be interested in touring some of our facilities, to better understand what you'd be integrating?" Marcus laughed. "No need. Our scans tell us everything. Your most advanced weapons are based on chemical explosives and simple nuclear fission. Your defenses are primitive shields that couldn't stop even our civilian vessels." Reed nodded to his assistant, who handed him a tablet. "Perhaps you'd be interested in this, then." He showed them a video of a recent quantum physics breakthrough. For just a moment, he saw surprise flicker across Marcus's face. "Interesting," Leto said, leaning forward. "This shouldn't be possible with your level of technology." "There are many things about Earth that might surprise you," Reed said. "We'd like to propose a series of technological exchanges before any discussion of integration." "You're not in a position to make proposals," Marcus said sharply, standing up. "You have 24 hours remaining to submit to Imperial rule. After that, we will demonstrate why resistance is pointless." As the Imperial delegation left the room, Reed watched them through the window. Their arrogance was obvious. They hadn't even bothered to scan for hidden defense systems or look too closely at Earth's quantum research. "Send word to all facilities," he told his assistant. "Begin Operation Deterrence, and contact Dr. Walker. Tell her it's time to power up the defense grid." The Imperium thought they were dealing with a primitive species that would bow to their superior technology. They hadn't realized that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology. It was their ability to surprise those who underestimated them. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Emily Walker stood in a vast underground chamber that few humans knew existed. Around her, hundreds of technicians and scientists worked at their stations, monitoring systems that had been hidden from the world for decades. The chamber hummed with power as machines that defied conventional physics came to life. "Status report," she called out, watching as the main display showed green lights spreading across the global defense network. "All quantum barrier generators are online," reported her chief engineer. "The orbital platforms are powered up and cloaked. The Imperium scans still haven't detected them." Dr. Walker allowed herself a small smile. The aliens' arrogance had worked in humanity's favor. They hadn't bothered to look for technology they didn't think could exist. Their scans had searched for known energy signatures, never considering that Earth might have developed something entirely different. Her secure phone buzzed. Commander Reed was calling. "Tell me you have good news, Doctor," he said without preamble. "Better than good," she replied. "Project Guardian is fully operational. All 37 orbital platforms are ready. The quantum shield network can be activated in under 60 seconds. And they still haven't detected anything." "No. Their scanning technology is impressive, but they're only looking for what they know. They never considered we might have taken a completely different path in our technological development." The truth was, humanity had been preparing for this moment since the first atomic bomb. While the world thought the Cold War was just about nuclear weapons, the greatest minds on Earth had been working on something far more advanced. They had discovered that the quantum realm offered possibilities that traditional space travel never could. "The President has called an emergency meeting of the Security Council," Reed informed her. "The Imperium's deadline is in 6 hours. Will you be ready to show them what we can do?" "We're ready now," Dr. Walker said, walking to a different station where a technician was monitoring one of the orbital platforms. "But Commander, you should know, once we reveal these capabilities, everything changes. The Imperium will know we've been hiding our true technology level." "Better than letting them think they can simply take our planet," Reed replied. "Start the final preparations. I'll inform the Council." After ending the call, Dr. Walker turned to her team. "Begin charging the quantum capacitors. I want all systems at full power in 4 hours." The underground facility buzzed with renewed activity. In similar bases around the world, other teams were doing the same thing. What the Imperium didn't know was that Earth's nations had been sharing their most advanced technologies for years, preparing for this very scenario. In orbit, invisible to both conventional radar and the Imperium's scans, the defense platforms waited. Each one contained technology that worked on principles the aliens had never considered, weapons that didn't rely on energy beams or explosions, but on the fundamental forces of reality itself. Dr. Walker reviewed the final simulations one last time. The quantum shields could absorb any known form of energy weapon. The gravity pulse generators could disable ships without destroying them. And the quantum entanglement communicators meant the entire network could react instantly without any delay. "Dr. Walker," one of her assistants called out, "the Imperium ships are moving. 3 of their smaller vessels are taking up attack positions." She nodded, unsurprised. The aliens probably planned a small demonstration of their power, hoping to frighten Earth into submission. Instead, they were about to get a demonstration of their own. "Send word to all facilities," she ordered. "Operation Deterrence is now active. Connect me to Commander Reed. It's time to show the Imperium why they shouldn't judge a species by its apparent level of space travel." As she watched the alien ships move into position, Dr. Walker thought about how long humanity had waited for this moment. The Imperium thought they were dealing with a primitive civilization. They were about to learn that sometimes the most dangerous technology is the kind you don't even know to look for. The United Nations General Assembly Hall was packed with representatives from every nation. On the main screen, the 3 Imperium warships hung in Earth's orbit, their weapons visibly charged. High Commander Marcus had demanded this meeting, expecting to hear Earth's surrender. Instead, he was about to receive humanity's response. Admiral Thomas Richards walked to the podium. At 70 years old, He had seen humanity through countless crises. Now he would deliver the most important speech in human history. The entire world watched through their screens as he adjusted his microphone. "High Commander Marcus," he began, his voice steady. "You came to our world expecting submission. Before you demonstrate your power, we would like to show you something." The main screen changed, showing black and white footage from World War I. Bombs falling on cities, massive armies clashing across continents. Then came color footage of nuclear tests, mushroom clouds rising into the sky. "This was us, 80 years ago," Richards continued. "We were still using propeller aircraft and basic radar. Within 6 years of this footage, we split the atom and created weapons that could destroy cities." The screen shifted again, showing the rapid advancement of technology. The first satellites, the moon landing, modern warfare, and recent technological breakthroughs. In less than a century, we went from basic flight to landing on our moon. From simple radios to quantum communications. From mechanical computers to artificial intelligence. In the Imperial delegation section, Marcus shifted uncomfortably. This wasn't the frightened submission he had expected. "But that's not what makes humanity unique," Richards said, his voice growing stronger. "What makes us unique is this." New footage appeared, disasters, both natural and man-made. But more importantly, it showed humanity's response. People from different countries helping each other, rebuilding from destruction, adapting to every challenge. "We have spent our entire history fighting. Against nature, against each other, against our own limitations. Every time we face destruction, we grow stronger. Every time we meet a challenge, we adapt." The screen split, showing multiple feeds. Hidden military bases around the world opening to reveal advanced weapon systems. Orbital platforms decloaking, their quantum technology finally visible. "You scanned us for technology you knew," Richards continued. "You looked for energy weapons, for standard shields, for conventional space travel. You never thought to look for anything else. You never considered that we might have taken a completely different path." In orbit, the defense platforms activated their quantum fields, becoming visible to the Imperium ships. There were hundreds of them, not just the 37 the aliens had been told about. "This is not a threat, High Commander. This is a warning. The only one you will receive. We are not a primitive species to be conquered. We are not helpless children to be guided. We are humanity." The screen showed one final image. Earth at night, lights glowing across continents, a planet united in its determination to remain free. "You have two choices," Richards said. "Leave our solar system and never return, or stay and talk as equals. There will be no surrender, no submission, and no integration into your empire." High Commander Marcus stood up, his face dark with anger. "You dare to threaten the Imperium? Our smallest ship could destroy your largest city." "Perhaps," Richards agreed calmly, "but you might want to scan those ships again." Marcus quickly checked his datapad. His face paled. During his speech, Earth's quantum technology had completely disabled the weapons systems on all 3 warships, so subtly that their crews hadn't even noticed. "As I said," Richards concluded, "this is not a threat. It's a warning. Earth is not your next conquest. We are either your next allies or your worst nightmare. The choice is yours." The General Assembly erupted in applause as Richards stepped down from the podium. In orbit, the disabled Imperium ships hung motionless, their crews frantically trying to understand what had happened to their supposedly superior technology. The next 24 hours changed everything. High Commander Marcus had retreated to his flagship, demanding that his engineers explain how 3 of their warships had been disabled without firing a single shot. The answer, when it came, shook the Imperial military to its core. In the underground command center, Dr. Walker explained their success to Commander Reed and the military leadership. "The Imperium relies entirely on energy shield technology," she said, pointing to the holographic display of the alien ships. "They never considered quantum-based systems because their science developed in a completely different direction. Like two people trying to climb the same mountain by different paths, Reed added, understanding. Exactly. While they mastered faster-than-light travel, we focused on quantum mechanics. Their shields are impressive against conventional weapons, but they might as well be tissue paper against our quantum disruptors. The display showed how Earth's defense platforms had simply reached through the Imperial shields, temporarily shutting down their weapon systems without the crews even noticing. It was like turning off a light switch. Elegant, simple, and completely unstoppable with their current technology. But humanity wasn't done with their demonstration. High Commander, Reed's voice transmitted to the Imperial flagship. We would like to show you one more thing. Please watch your long-range sensors. At the edge of the solar system, near Pluto's orbit, a small Imperial scout ship was conducting routine scans. Suddenly, its crew detected an energy spike unlike anything they had seen before. Space itself seemed to ripple. In the command center, Dr. Walker activated the quantum tunneling device, technology that the Imperium had dismissed as theoretically impossible. A small, unmanned Earth vessel appeared next to the scout ship, having crossed billions of miles instantly. Quantum tunneling, Dr. Walker explained to the stunned Imperial observers. We don't need faster-than-light drives. We simply fold space itself. The demonstration continued. The Earth vessel created a localized quantum field, gently moving the scout ship into a different orbit without using any conventional propulsion. The Imperial crew reported that their engines and artificial gravity remained completely unaffected. They simply found themselves in a different location. As you can see, Reed transmitted, we could have chosen to be far less gentle. Your ship's weapons are still disabled, but we've left all other systems untouched. This is not an act of war. It's a demonstration of mutual respect. In the Imperial flagship, Marcus watched the readings with a mixture of shock and growing respect. His species had ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years, believing they had reached the pinnacle of technological achievement. Now, a supposedly primitive race had shown them an entirely new path of scientific development. Your point is made, Commander Reed, Marcus finally responded. I must contact the Imperial Council. This changes things. Back in the command center, the mood was cautiously optimistic. They had demonstrated humanity's power without causing any destruction or loss of life. The quantum fields around the disabled Imperial ships remained active but gentle, a constant reminder of Earth's capabilities. Dr. Walker, Reed said quietly, how long have we really been capable of this level of technology? She smiled slightly. Remember the Philadelphia experiment? The one everyone thinks was a failure. That was our first successful quantum field test. We've been developing this technology for over 70 years, always in secret, always preparing for this day. And the Imperium never saw it coming because they were looking for the wrong things, Reed concluded. Precisely. They expected primitives with chemical rockets and nuclear weapons. Instead, they found a species that took an entirely different path to the stars. As they watched the Imperial ships on the main display, both Reed and Dr. Walker knew that the galaxy would never be the same. Humanity had not just defended itself. It had demonstrated a completely new way of approaching space travel and energy manipulation. The Imperium's response would determine whether this led to war or to one of the greatest technological exchanges in galactic history. 3 days after Earth's demonstration, the Imperial Council arrived. Their massive ship emerged from faster-than-light travel just beyond Mars' orbit, its size dwarfing even the other Imperial vessels. This time, however, they approached with their weapons powered down, a sign of respect that wasn't lost on Earth's defenders. The meeting took place in a neutral location, a newly constructed space station positioned between Earth and lunar orbit. Commander Reed watched through the station's windows as the Imperial shuttle docked, carrying not just High Commander Marcus, but 5 members of the Imperial Council itself. Quite different from their first arrival, Dr. Walker commented, standing beside him. The quantum defense grid remained active but invisible, a quiet reminder of Earth's capabilities. The Imperial Council members entered the station's conference room. They looked similar to Marcus, but wore more elaborate robes, decorated with symbols of their ancient authority. Their leader, Grand Counselor Valen, spoke first. "We have reviewed the events of the past week with great interest," he said, his voice carrying the weight of thousands of years of Imperial history. "In 10,000 years of expansion, we have never encountered a species quite like yours." Reed nodded respectfully. "We've had some time to study your technology as well. Your faster-than-light drives alone could revolutionize our space travel capabilities. And your quantum manipulation technology could change everything we thought we knew about energy and matter," Valen responded. "Which brings us to why we're here." The council members spread out a series of holographic displays showing different star systems and trade routes. "The Imperium has always expanded through conquest or intimidation," Valen continued. "But you have shown us that this approach is outdated." Dr. Walker stepped forward. "What exactly are you proposing?" "An alliance," Valen said simply. "Not as rulers and subjects, but as equals. Your quantum technology combined with our faster-than-light travel could open up possibilities neither of our civilizations has imagined." High Commander Marcus, who had been quietly observing, finally spoke. "I was wrong about Earth," he admitted. "I saw your limited space travel and assumed technological inferiority. I failed to consider that advancement might take different paths." The negotiations continued for hours. The Imperium offered access to their faster-than-light technology and trade routes. In return, Earth would share their quantum manipulation theories and help develop new hybrid technologies combining both civilizations' knowledge. "There is one more thing," Valen added near the end. "We've detected increasing activity from the Nexus Collective, a rival civilization that has been challenging our borders. Your quantum technology could be crucial in maintaining peace." Reed and Dr. Walker exchanged glances. They had suspected the Imperium's sudden interest in alliance wasn't entirely about scientific exchange. "We're not interested in fighting your wars," Reed said firmly. "But we will defend any allies against unprovoked aggression. Perhaps knowing that both our civilizations stand together will encourage peaceful solutions." Valen smiled, the first genuine smile they'd seen from an Imperial official. "That is precisely what we hoped you would say. The collective respects strength, but they also respect wisdom. Your approach to our own arrival proves you have both." As the meeting concluded, Reed looked out at Earth through the station's windows. In just 1 week, humanity had gone from a seemingly isolated species to potential partners in a galactic civilization. But they had done it on their own terms, earning respect through innovation and determination rather than submission. "Commander," Dr. Walker said, reviewing the technical specifications the Imperium had shared, "their faster-than-light technology. Combined with our quantum fields, we could create something entirely new." Reed nodded, watching as the Imperial shuttle departed. "That's what we do best, isn't it? Finding new paths that nobody else has considered. The galaxy won't know what hit it." The next few hours would be busy, preparing announcements to the public, organizing technical exchange teams, and setting up diplomatic frameworks. But for now, Reed allowed himself to enjoy this moment. Humanity hadn't just avoided conquest. They had turned potential conquerors into genuine allies. 6 months after the first contact with the Galactic Imperium, Earth had changed more than anyone could have imagined. The night sky now featured a new sight, a massive space station where human and Imperial scientists worked together, combining their technologies in ways that pushed the boundaries of what both civilizations thought possible. Commander Reed stood in the observation deck of this station, watching as the first human Imperial hybrid ship prepared for its test flight. The vessel looked unlike anything either civilization had built before, sleek and powerful, but with a distinct style that represented both cultures. "Ready for the big moment?" Dr. Walker asked, joining him at the window. She had spent the last months leading the technical exchange program, working closely with Imperial engineers to combine their faster-than-light technology with Earth's quantum systems. "Hard to believe it's only been 6 months," Reed replied. "Remember when they thought we were primitives?" The test ship, named Unity, powered up its engines. It carried a crew of both humans and Imperials, including High Commander Marcus himself. A gesture of trust and cooperation that would have seemed impossible half a year ago. "All systems are ready," the ship's captain reported, preparing for quantum-enhanced FTL jump. The entire station watched as Unity activated its new hybrid drive. The ship's hull glowed with a subtle blue light as quantum fields formed around it. Then, in a flash of light that seemed to bend reality itself, it vanished. "Jump successful," announced the control room. "Unity has reached the Alpha Centauri system. Travel time, 3.2 seconds. The observation deck erupted in cheers. The previous Imperial record for that distance had been several hours. By combining their technologies, they had achieved something unprecedented. Minutes later, Unity reappeared, its crew ecstatic. The quantum-enhanced FTL drive had worked better than anyone had expected. But this was just the beginning. In his office later that day, Reed reviewed reports from around the world. The technology exchange had brought benefits far beyond space travel. Imperial medical technology, combined with Earth's quantum systems, had led to breakthroughs in treating previously incurable diseases. New energy systems were making clean, unlimited power a reality. "Commander," his assistant called through the intercom. "The Imperial Council is requesting an emergency meeting." Reed rushed to the conference room, finding Dr. Walker already there. The holographic projection of Grand Counselor Valen appeared, looking concerned. "We've received word from our border stations," Valen announced. "The Nexus Collective is mobilizing their fleet. They're testing our resolve, seeing if our new alliance has made us weak or strong." "Then let's show them," Reed said firmly. "Unity's test results prove our combined technology works. We can have a joint defense fleet ready within months." "Not to fight," Dr. Walker added quickly, "but to demonstrate that aggression against either of our civilizations would be unwise." Valen nodded approvingly, exactly the response we hoped for. The collective respects strength, but they also respect innovation. Show them something new, something that makes them want to talk rather than fight. Over the next few hours, plans were made. Unity would lead a diplomatic mission to the collective's border, demonstrating the new technology while carrying ambassadors from both Earth and the Imperium. It wasn't about showing military might, but about proving that cooperation could achieve more than conquest. As Reed looked out at Earth one last time before boarding Unity for the mission, he thought about how close they had come to conflict. Instead, humanity had gained not just allies, but a new understanding of their place in the galaxy. "Ready to make some more history?" Dr. Walker asked, joining him as they prepared to board. Reed smiled. "You know what impresses me most. 6 months ago, they came to conquer us. Now they're following our lead on how to handle a collective. Turns out humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology. It's our ability to turn enemies into friends." As Unity prepared for its historic diplomatic mission, Reed couldn't help but feel proud. Earth hadn't just survived its first contact with an alien empire. It had helped create something entirely new, a partnership that would change the galaxy forever, not through force, but through innovation and cooperation.